class is scapular divinity, so we're going to be focusing on the scapula today and trying to learn where the correct placement is. So just take a moment to kind of step away from whatever's happening. If you feel as though you need some grounding, you can have the palms down. Or if you're feeling a little bit more open, just go ahead and flip the palms up. Take a moment just to close your eyes, to step away from what's happened earlier or maybe what's going to happen later on in your day. See how you're feeling physically, mentally, and emotionally. Starting to take your attention inward and start to gather energy from the earth up through the pelvic floor, and then feel that energy start to travel up the spine, all the way up through the crown of the head. Take a deep inhale through your nose. Exhale. And then opening your eyes, let's grab your block. You're going to come down onto your block and take that block and place it right between your shoulder blades, up and down on the spine. And so it might not feel great.
Like this?
Okay. And yeah, so you're going to place it right along the spine. Let's support your head with your hands. And then if it feels okay, I want you just to go from side to side, kind of scrubbing the scapula. Noticing if you feel any clicking or stiffness in the upper back. And then Kathy, just see if you can kind of windshield wiper. Yeah, there you go, from side to side. And all the while keeping your shoulders really strong, so I'm not just opening up into a passive range in your shoulder girdle. And soften the ribs. Yeah, or start to draw the ribs in. So I want to keep the core contained as you're here. Take another couple from side to side, and you can go ahead and bend your knees, Kathy, and stand strong on your feet. Yeah. And then very gently, let's lift ourselves up off the block, and we'll come down onto our backs to start our reset. So take your block in between your thighs to help you not only engage into the pelvic floor, but also get into the transverse abdominals. So make sure when you plant your feet that they're not too close. You don't want to feel any constriction in the lower back or in the knee. And then let's inhale, lift the pelvis up off the mat. So noticing, can I touch you? Is that okay? So go ahead and give me a little, yeah, notice those ribs coming down, beautiful. Keep squeezing your glutes. So go ahead and take your fingers to your glutes and just tap them. Again, sending that signal to the brain that we want that area to fire. Now, reach the palms straight up, so they're going to face one another, just like you had them, and then protract the scapula. So pull the scapula away from the spine, and then bring it back to neutral. So it might retract a little bit, but the floor might get in the way, and then just keep doing that. So I'm going to retract and then pull it back to neutral. Keep those glutes really strong, and be mindful that your hamstrings aren't wanting to take over completely. Now to add a little bit more oomph, let's start to lift and lower the heels as you're doing this. And it can be slower or you can move faster, it doesn't matter. But again, just keeping that tuck of the tailbone up towards the ceiling and your front ribs gathering inward. Take a few more rounds. Starting to fire up the entire back side of the body. And then very slowly, we're going to lower all the way down towards the floor. Yeah, really scooping the belly out. Awesome. So let's interlace your fingers behind your skull, not your neck. Pull the elbows in towards one another, our favorite part. And then lift the knees up over your hips. And exhale, we're gonna lift the head and shoulders up. So I want you to pull the knees right over the hips. It's gonna feel like your thigh bones are moving backwards. Beautiful, take your gaze down towards your belly. Keep lifting up a little bit more, and then inhale, lower yourself down. Exhale, lift up again. Lift as high as you can. Imagine those front ribs gathering in. Look towards the belly, but then let the elbows feel like they're lifting up, and lean the head back into the hands. Inhale, go ahead and lower down. Exhale, again, lifting up. Let the elbows reach towards the ceiling and really firming the lower belly. Squeeze the pelvic floor. Keep squeezing your block. And inhale, lower yourself down. Exhale, lift back up again. This time, let's take the left arm, reach it towards your left ankle. So you're going to protract that scapula, and then put the hand back behind the head and inhale, lower down. Exhale, again, lifting up. This time we'll reach the right arm forward. Reach it even further towards this wall over here. Again, gazes down towards your belly, and then pull the hand back behind the head and inhale and lower down. One more time, let's add on. So exhale, lift up. Reach your left arm, protract the scapula, so pull it away. Now bend the elbow and really dig that elbow into the floor. Take the head of the humerus and roll it backwards. Beautiful. Take the hand back behind the head, and then inhale, lower it down. Exhale, lift back up. Let's reach the right arm forward. Again, reach it, pull that scapula away, and then bend the elbow, dig that elbow into the floor, roll the head of the humerus backwards. Now straighten the arm back out, and then take the hand back behind the head and inhale, lower it down. Beautiful. So to grab your block, I want you to roll over to the left side. You're going to take that right knee and place it onto the block. And the bottom leg can be straight or bent, either one, it doesn't matter. But let's take the block to the high level. Yeah. And then it's going to come right off of the hip. Now roll open with that right arm, so circle it back behind you. And you can goalpost the arm if you want, or you can let it be straight. But what I'm more concerned about is that the humerus is secured in the shoulder socket. So it's supported. The sacrum is really stable and level, and the twist is coming through that mid and upper back. Inhale, let's pull it back onto your left side, and you're just going to roll over. So just take your time, rolling over and placing that left knee hip level on that highest block, or highest setting of the block. And then the left arm is going to roll back behind you. Just kind of, let the fingertips draw along the floor, and then hug that left scapula in towards the spine, so it feels, again, that you can kind of lean into it. Draw your front ribs in, and just keep squeezing the pelvic floor. So even though we're lying down twisting, I want your feet strong. There you go. And an inhale is going to bring you back. And you're going to roll back onto your back. So one more little set of abdominals. This time let's take the block with the wide part down. Yeah. Place it between your knees. And again, you'll bring the knees up over the hips. But if you needed to, you could always keep the feet on the floor as well. Interlace your fingers behind the skull. And then pull the elbows in towards one another. Exhale, lift the head and shoulders up off the floor. Take the gaze towards the belly. But I'm still leaning the head back into the palms. Now, open your elbows up. Beautiful. So you're putting a little bit more demand on the front side of the body. Twist a couple of inches towards the left. And you're going to pull the right elbow in, but keep that left elbow open. Squeeze your obliques. Inhale back to center. And then exhale, lower it down. Pull the elbows back in. Exhale, lift the head and shoulders up. Let's open the elbows now. Again, putting more demand there. Twist a couple of inches. Think of the rib moving towards your thigh bone more than the shoulder or more than the elbow. Close the top arm and keep that bottom arm open. Inhale, come back to center and lower down. Beautiful. Exhale, let's lift up again. Pull your elbows in and then open them up. Again, twisting towards the left just a little bit. Keep the top elbow closed and the bottom elbow open. See if you can lift up a little bit more. Get that left shoulder blade up off the floor. There you go. And then inhale brings you back to neutral and you'll lower down. Exhale, let's lift back up one more time. Pull the elbows in at first and then open it up. Twist a couple of inches towards the right. And then I'll close the left elbow and keep that right elbow open. Really roll up off that right shoulder blade as much as you can. Pull those front ribs in. And then inhale, pulls you back to center. And you can lower yourself down. Great. Let's come on to all fours. So just doing what you need to do to get there. And then head and shoulders, hands, wrists right up underneath your shoulders. Knees right up underneath your hips. So you can bring your knees in just a little bit. I'd rather see them too close than too far apart. Now, shrug your shoulder blades towards the spine. Yeah, so drop the sternum towards the floor and then push, puff up into that upper back. See if you can push more into here. Not necessarily cat back. I'm just wanting to move the scapula. Yes, so shrug them in and then spread them away. Pulling the front of the throat into the back of the throat. Again, squeeze them together. See if you can keep this neutral. And just move from here. Yeah, so not near as big of a movement, but more power. Again, inhale, push into that. Looks great, Kathy. And then squeezing in. Give me one more. Very nice. Now find neutral. So imagine my hands were here and I'm pulling this towards one another. And then come down onto your forearms. So you can either have your forearms shoulder distance, or if you need to, you can interlace your hands. We're going to lift up into dolphin pose. So you can keep your knees as bent as you need to. And see if you can walk them in even more to really lift this hip crease. Oh yeah, up nice and high. Now let your neck really hang heavy. Even maybe more so towards the arms than what you might think. Yes, feel any different, Kathy? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so really let that neck hang. So we can always stay here, or maybe you feel really stable in that right arm and you take your left arm out towards a T and tent your fingers. Keep lifting these hip creases up as high as you can get them. Beautiful, lift up a little more, beautiful. Now maybe you take your left hand towards your sacrum and you let that be feedback to lift those front ribs, into the back ribs. Awesome. And then take that left hand to the floor and we'll just switch. So relax your neck. There you go. Tent your right fingers if you need to, or you can always keep both hands down. Lift up even more. Maybe you take that right hand towards the sacrum. And again, you let the brain think, I want to lift, lift, lift up into that palm. Relax the neck even more. Beautiful. Both of your heads just drop. And then come on down, child's pose. Woo! Already warm. Bring those hands back by your feet. And just take a moment to chill out. When you're ready, inhale, we'll lift you up. Now I want you to come over to the wall. So I don't think you'll need your mat, but you can always take it if you want to. So we're gonna bring our hands to the floor and think of down dog, but my heels are on the wall. So I can always stay here, or maybe I take those feet hip level and I'm gonna stand, tuck the tailbone, and just like in our dolphin pose, really lengthen ribs in even more. You can actually scoot your hands back to about here. That's okay. That's okay. We do what we can. And then when you're finished, come on down. Just take a moment. Make sure you're not dizzy. And as you come back to the mat, I want you to circle your shoulders. Just really see if you can move those scapula in a up and down and maybe in and out. And then we'll just come to stand at the top of the mat. And think of your triple S. So your skull, the shoulder blades, the sacrum, yeah. Maybe even imagining sliding your ears backwards. Very nice. So go ahead and bend your knees and really scoop, even more than what you think. Now we're going to lift the arms forward first and then up. And exhale, keep that neutral spine as you come into a forward fold. So hands as flat as possible, so bend your knees. There you go. Now let's step back to plank. Take a full inhale and exhale. Squeeze your bum. Push into my fingers. And then lower the knees to the floor. Lower all the way down. We're going to pull ourselves into cobra. So feel as though you're sliding the hands backwards. Beautiful. I can see those glutes strong. Keep wrapping them down. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift up onto your knees. And we'll lift up into downward facing dog. So let's shorten our dog a little bit. And so let's stay high on the balls of the feet. Again, so we can lift these hip creases up as high as possible and pull the front ribs in. Yes, feel anything different? Beautiful. Now look forward and we'll get the feet up to the front of the mat. And inhale is going to lift you all the way up because again, we always want that neutral spine. Exhale, forward fold. We're going to step back with the right foot, come down to the right knee and untuck the right toe. Inhale lifts you up. Keep pulling your knee and your heel towards one another. Exhale, the hands to the floor, step back to plank. Lowering if you want to. Again, squeezing the glutes. Keep those shoulder blades moving down and back. Very nice. Inhale. Pull yourself into your cobra, and then we'll lift the hips up. Downward dog. Now let's step forward with the right foot. Come down onto the left knee, and untuck the left toe. Inhale lifts you up. So let your left knee be right up underneath your hip and give me that posterior tuck. There you go. And let's see if you can soften from here and lifting from here. Yeah. Exhale, the hands to the floor. Again, as flat as possible. We'll step forward. Inhale is going to lift you all the way up to stand. Exhale, come right back down again. Soften your knees. Let's step back with the left foot, come down to the left knee, untuck the left toe, inhale, lift up. Exhale, hands to the floor, step back to strong plank, squeeze those glutes. Lower the knees, lowering all the way to the belly. Inhale, pull yourself into cobra, but also hug the lower belly in away from the floor. Exhale, come on down. Inhale, lift up into your down dog. And then we'll step the left foot forward, come down to the right knee, untuck the right toe. Inhale, lifts you up. Can you grow any more through the side body? Pull those front ribs back into me. Great. That's awesome, Kathy.
Oh my gosh.
Awesome. Exhale, the hands to the floor, step to the front. Inhale is going to lift you completely up. Exhale, come down again. And soften your knees. There you go. Step back with your right foot. Come down to the right knee. This time, let's leave the toe tucked. And I'm just going to let the arms be at the side and take some big shoulder rolls. Again, this is all contained. This is all really strong. Exhale, the hands to the floor. Again, as flat as possible. Step back. You can lower through that modified chaturanga. You can always take full if you want that. pull yourself into cobra and then lift up into down dog. Again, we want this readiness, like you could slingshot yourself forward. Now I'll step forward with the left foot, come down to the right knee, and keep that right toe tucked. And same thing again, let's make those shoulder rolls. So we want to, don't switch your direction, just keep going backwards, because most of the time we're in that forward motion anyway. Take the skull back, there you go. Lift up through the crown. And then exhale the hands to the floor, step to the front of the mat. Inhale, lifts you up. Exhale, come right back down. Step back right foot, step back left foot. So you're in a strong plank. Lower the knees, lower all the way. This time when you're down there, take your hands to your back pockets. So internal rotation of the arms. Squeeze the scapula towards one another. Push your butt flesh down, and then you can lift up. Neutral chin, yeah, so let the neck be really long. Keep squeezing the bum, and then exhale, lower. Bring your hands up underneath you. Inhale, lift up into your down dog. And just take a few breaths there. When you're ready, let's take the left foot forward into a fingertip lunge. So I want you to leave your hands on the floor just to take a few breaths to really find power from the earth up into those legs. So get really strong. And then pull the trunk away from that front thigh. Squeeze the scapula together and then pull them away from one another. So that same protraction and retraction that we did on our bellies. Keep this left hip crease moving backwards. Let's do one more. Squeeze in, watch your neck. And then leave them together. Bend the elbows and flex the wrists. And then from there, I'm going to sit down with control onto that right knee, and I'll bring the arms up in goalpost. So anytime we come here, yeah, make sure that I'm not popping my ribs. Now, retract and depress one at a time. So really think about those scapula moving along the backs of the ribs. And again, you might feel some clicking or some popping of that fascia if it's, if you're tight in the upper back. Let's do a couple more of each. Again, I've got these glute wrapping down. So that right glute is squeezing down towards the right heel. And then come to neutral. Plant the hands to the floor. Step back to one-legged plank so that left leg will stay lifted. And then set the left foot down, lift the right leg up. Set the right foot down, lift the left leg up. Set it down, lift the right. Set it down, lift the left. Squeeze your bum. Set it down, keep moving through each. Try not to puff up too much here. I want these to settle. Beautiful. Let's do one more. Push the front of the throat into the back. And then both feet are on the floor. You're going to lower to the mat so you can plant the knees or you just lower down. And same thing, find that back pocket with your hands. So internal rotation, but now look at the heads of the arms. Yeah, I don't want them rolling forward like that chaturanga that we kind of get into sometimes. Squeeze the scapula and then inhale, lift into your locust. Really drive the feet into the floor, make the legs really strong. Exhale, come down. Inhale is going to lift you up into a little turbo dog. So you're going to bend your elbows a couple of inches. And I want you to take some big, deep breaths, maybe in and out through your mouth, or in through the nose, out through the mouth. So bend the elbows back towards your feet. Lift up even higher into the hips. And then see again, yeah. You're pulling that front rib into the back side of the body. I'm going to touch you. Give me some more. Yes, that's awesome. Now straighten to what you think is almost straight, like 98%. And then look to the front of the mat and exhale. Maybe you hop your feet up there. Maybe not. Inhale is going to lift you all the way up. Again, let the scapula lift. As in vinyasa, we're always taught, oh, hug the scapula down. But when we have our arms overhead, we really want to let that mechanically lift up. Exhale, forward fold again. Plant your hands, maybe you hop back to plank. So for years, again, I've been taught, oh, it's dangerous to hop into plank. Well, if I have a secure shoulder, I can do whatever I want to. And you can lower if you want, or you're going to lift your hips back up into your down dog. So energetically, letting the forearms move towards me. And there again, wrapping, all that in to get the hip creases even higher without diving the chest. Now let's get the right foot forward, and we'll take a couple of breaths there in that fingertip lunge. So again, gathering that ground force reaction, using the energy from the earth. Keep this right hip crease moving back, and then hover the torso away from the thigh. I'm going to squeeze the scapula together and then pull them away. Don't lose this as you're here. So keep that belly push. So push this into my hand, mainly with the breath. There you go. Now on that third one, I want you to leave them together, bend the elbows. What I don't want is the elbows to take over, so let the work come from here and then flex the wrist. With control, I'm going to lower the left knee to the mat, and I bring those arms up in goalposts. So I never realized how much work goes into goalposts. It's so difficult, but we're strengthening all those four muscles that create the rotator cuff. And then same thing, that little depression and retraction. Keep the glutes active. Keep that right leg pulling backwards energetically. Yep. And keep the breath nice and full. From here. Yeah. Pull this in to do that. It's almost like my ribs are moving back. Yeah. Now plant the hands to the floor. You'll sit back to that strong one-legged plank. If I needed to, I could always modify and have a knee on the floor as well, and then set that foot down, and we'll just walk it. So go at your own pace. Squeeze your bum. Try not to puff up into the upper back. Yeah, I want those scapula to be neutral, like if I had them, and all those muscles are going to kind of pull those scapula secure on the back. Let's do one more on each side. Squeeze that pelvic floor. Squeeze your glutes. There you go. And then lower all the way down. Your hands are going to find your back pockets. Squeeze the scapula together, and then take the head to the humerus and draw it backwards. Use your hands. You can kind of push the pelvis down to lengthen that lower back. Exhale, come on down. Inhale, let's lift up into turbo dog. So, we'll have that little shorter down dog. Bend your elbows a couple of inches and let those elbows point towards your feet. So I'm wrapping, just like I had a strap around those elbows, and I was going to try to knot them together. Take one more big deep breath. And then come to straight, or what you think is straight. And then look to the front of the mat, and we'll get the feet up to the front of the mat. Good job. Inhale is going to lift you all the way up. Exhale, dive right back down. So just sun sal A. Plant your hands, step back to plank. Lowering if you want. If not, you can lift the hips straight up into your down dog. Hips up as high as we can get. Yeah. Maybe even let your scapula move as you're in your down dog. Now look to the front. Just bend your knees. Maybe walk your feet in just a little bit. Bend your knees and maybe you hop towards the front. Really push strong into those hands. Good. Inhale is going to lift you up. Exhale, come right back down. Bend your knees. There you go. Plant your hands. Step or hop, plank. Nice. And then lowering down or lifting the hips straight up into your down dog. Yeah, those shoulders look so much better, Teresa. And then look to the front. Get your feet up there. Inhale will lift you up. Good job. We got to start somewhere, right? Exhale, forward fold.
A little scared.
Plant your hands, step back. Lowering to the floor. See if you can just keep that moving in a backward direction. So in this down dog, I want you to shrug your shoulders. So yeah, let the scapula again slide around the ribs. So pull them up towards the ears and then really depress them. And here we're creating strength in the muscles along the top of the shoulder. But also working, to get that upper back loosened up. And then find neutral. So I want you to lift your left leg up in the air. Squeeze your left bum. And you can either step forward for left leg crescent lunge, or I could take a little hop and bring that left foot. Yeah, good job. I have a story for you. And then take the hands to the heads of the arms. And same thing, but I'm going to move. I don't want to move with just the elbow, but move from the scapula. You can let the ribs come along, but I don't want the ribs to pop. So I'm still moving those ribs back in space. Come on back, even more than what you think. Yes, there you go. Good job. And saying, yeah. Y'all know.
I just am reminding.
Let's do one more on each side. Because I forgot what comes next. And then bring the hands to the heart. Find your mobility. So I'm going to twist first, and then I'll put that hip hinge out and take that right elbow to the top. So try not to hook it, just place it on the top of your left knee. And then here, same thing as in the beginning in the reset, pull those front ribs in and lean into this right scapula. Take your gaze to the front of your left foot. We're going to load that left foot up and step forward with your right foot. And then step back, step forward, step back, step forward. Just moving with the breath. Let's do two more. So again, I want the full body. It's not just the legs. Make sure that core is really strong. And then we're going to stay back there with the right foot. Unwind. Come down to the right knee. Right hand is going to come to the floor, and I'm sliding back into a modified side plank. Energetically draw this arm back towards your right knee. Flex your left foot, and then let's lift and lower that left foot. Take your front ribs in, so think pubic bone, because we don't want to arch too much here, so pubic bone towards your sternum. And you can let your head hang like Kathy's doing, or you can take your gaze down. I don't want you to look up. Take one more. Squeeze the pelvic floor. And then take the hand, the top hand to the head of the arm. And give me another lift and lower. And just feel the connection when I lift the leg. Do you feel anything in their shoulder?
Yes.
See if you can open the chest a little bit more, Kathy. There you go. Now plant both hands, both knees on the floor. And I come right back to those scapular push-ups. So I'll spread them away and then I drop the sternum towards the floor. Keeping the lower back, the mid back just as stable, like I had a dowel on there. Yep, 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 yep. Now move. Yep. And then find neutral. And let's step back into plank. And if you want to, you can lower here, or you can lift the hips up into your down dog. Are we sweating? Yes. Lift, lift, lift up with those hip creases just as high as you can, but I don't want you to lose this. Soften here. Yeah. Isn't it hard? It is so freaking hard. Beautiful. Let's take another deep breath. Here we have readiness. We're ready for this. Let's take the right foot forward this time. Find your crescent lunge. Oh yeah. You want to take your little hop, kick.
Okay.
So squeeze that right glute and then lean into your scapula as you pull that right leg through. So y'all, I've never heard this before. For handstand, to lean into your sternoclavicular joint.
Right here?
Yeah. To lean into that.
That makes sense.
And she's like, this is the biggest bone in the body, the most stable.
Because that fires up your scapula.
And she said it's all about the scapula. I was just like, what? Okay, hands to the heads of the arm bones again and move from those scapula.
No,
I'm going to get some corsets on you guys. So everything from your outer hips, I want you to knit, pull all that in towards the midline. I see it happening. Very nice. Let's do one more. Then bring the hands to the heart. Find your mobility. So rotate first and then hip hinge out. So keep that right hip crease moving in a backwards direction. And then take the elbow to the top of that left thigh bone. Take your gaze in front of the right foot. And I'm going to do that same transition of stepping forward with the left foot and then back. Really loading up your right leg. So squeeze that right glute. And how can you lean back into this left scapula and feel the same abdominal action that we felt in the reset? Let's do one more. So stepping forward, stepping back, leave it back. Unwind and gently take the left knee to the floor. And we're going to take the left hand to the mat and just come into that modified side plank. So, if you can, I want this foot to be at the back of the mat. Again, it's a little more challenging that way. Externally rotate this, so feel how much you're arching in your lower back. Pull it in, pull it in. Did you see that? Well, you probably did because you're bouncing, but.
Oh, I got it.
And then take your hand to the head of the humerus or to the shoulder, and then lift and lower, yeah, that leg, and see if there's any connection there. There is, whether you feel it or not. Even, yeah, even more. Yes. Now see if you can keep that as you roll the heart over just a little bit more. Energetically pull that left hand back and lean into that left scapula. Now you're getting all bendy on me over here.
I was trying to lift my chest.
Now take the hand and the knee to the mat, you're back in quadruped. And same thing, I'm going to do those little serratus puffs. So drop the sternum towards the floor. And now, even in quadruped, you're energetically spinning the hands out and pulling them back, which is hard to so much that this, yeah, starts to hollow away from the floor. Exhale, come on down. And let's lift up one more time. So inhale. If you want to let the head lift, you can. Right there. Soften that. Yeah. Yeah. Exhale, lower it down. Inhale, you'll lift up into your down dog. Shorten your dog. Bend your knees a whole lot. Push into the hands, and then maybe take a little hop. Try it. There you go. Inhale's going to lift you all the way up. Exhale into chair pose. Yeah, so hinge. Yeah. So the hip crease is going to move backwards. And that's where we get that toppling sensation. Take the ribs in. Exhale, forward fold. Plant the hand, step, or hop back to plank. Lowering if you want. If not, lift up into your down dog. So Sun Sal B, we're going to do the left side first, since most of the world is right side dominant. So lift your left leg up. Squeeze your bum. Take that little switch kick. Get your left foot forward into warrior one. There you go. Good job. Awesome. And again, it doesn't have to be a big pose. I want to see if I can turn everything this way. So maybe you kick this foot up a little bit. There you go. And I could always spin onto the ball of the foot if I needed that. Push all this back into my hand. Yeah! Awesome. Come on down. Take a vinyasa if you want. If not, step straight back. Squeeze. Keep those. Yeah. Do you feel that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Try to keep that in one piece. So let's lift the right leg up when you're ready. Squeeze your right glute. Again, you've got this. Maybe you take that little kick. Yeah! Good job. Right side warrior one. Exhale, come on down, and we'll take that flow. Look forward, and we'll get the feet up to the front of the mat. Inhale, back into your chair pose. And hip creases, push straight back. So you can even take your fingers into that hip crease and help that make you say, I want to sandwich those fingers in, which I thought a lot of times I was in hip flexion and I'm not really in hip flexion. Exhale, forward fold again. Plant the hand, step or hop back to plank. Take enough the lowering if you want, if not, staying in your down dog. Keep lifting up through. Yeah. Squeeze your bum. Again, we'll do left side first. So you can lift the left leg if you want to, or step it through. Left leg warrior one. Nice. Lift the arms. Push everything back further than what you think. Pull this in to give me length. There you go.
I mean,
It's enough.
That's it.
Exhale, come on down.
It's not gonna move.
It will eventually. We just keep telling our brain that that's what we want it to do. Right side when you're ready. So right side warrior one. Don't let those arms bend whatsoever.
That's what I did. I can feel it. I mean, it feels something's wrong, so I can get down heavier.
Awesome. Come on down. And let's just stay in down dog this time. So, from our dog, we're coming back into warrior one with your left foot forward. So if you want that lift switch, you can take that here. some space here. Beautiful. And then interlace your fingers behind your back. Take it right to the sacrum and squeeze from the scapula. And then you can forward fold to the inside of your left thigh. And you can always move that leg over if you need to, if it kind of blocks you. Keep squeezing through there. Yep, there you go. Now inhale, come halfway up. Keep that left knee really bent a lot. Again, I want that same hip flexion we were just talking about. And I'm going to come into a bent knee airplane or warrior 3. Yep, beautiful. Bend your knee a lot. Notice if the knee wants to move forward, again, we're not getting into that hip flexion. So we want the knee to stay where it is and move the hip backwards. Now I'm going to set that right foot down with control towards this mirror over here and come into goddess. So think of goddess, the thigh bones are going to roll out. Take the tailbone and wrap it down. And I'm just going to do a couple little lazily or loosey-goosey shrugs. And then bring intention into it. So I'm going to lift the scapula up, squeeze them together, and then milk that scapula down the spine. Okay?
I'm getting my hamstring cramp.
Oh, okay.
Shows you how much strength I'm getting.
Same thing, back even more than what you. Yep. Feel different? Are you gonna get a cramp back here? That's what happens to me.
I'm
Like,
stuck right there right at the moment.
Okay. So this.
Yep. Pull them up, squeeze it together, and then keep them squeezed together as you slide them down. Yep. And then let's do one more. Now you're going to straighten your legs. Turn your toes to face what is now the front. And then come down into a forward fold. So again, hip hinge. And I'm going to take the hands to the floor. So just like we did in quadruped, I'm going to do those same little scapula protractions and retractions.
So where should our head be hanging?
Yeah, just let your head hang. Yeah, try to keep all this contained and just move from there. Let's do one more. And then you're going to stay neutral. Spin to the front of the mat and come down into dolphin. So think about it. It's an awkward transition. I used to hate it, but now I like it. And then lift that left leg up into the air. So she thinks we should do dolphin every day. So let's see if we can walk this back foot in just a little bit. There you go. And then same thing, pulling this front side of the body into the back. Same thing here. Pull that in. Let your head relax even more. And then walk yourself out into forearm plank. Keep pushing or puff up between your shoulder blades. Now we're going to lower to the floor, but lower with control. A lot of times I'll just kind of collapse down because I'm tired. Inhale into your locust. So you can goalpost your arms again. You can take them onto your back pockets like you did. But when you come up, I really want you to think of scooping the belly away from the floor and being mindful of your eyes and your head, which all look good. Don't come with you. Maybe don't lift up so high because I want this to stay really long. Exhale, come on down. Take a little moment if you need to, and if not, we will come back into our down dog.
This is such a humbling practice.
It really is. You know, faster and bigger or is harder, it's like, holy crap, it's not. Not when we're really paying attention and, doing what's good for us functionally in our everyday life. And so let's get that right foot forward. So you can do that switch kick if you want. If not, let's just come up to warrior one here. Good job. Now think about it. Yeah. Bring your hands behind you. You can squeeze from the scapula. And then humble it. Come to the inside. And just let the head hang. Keep pushing into this glute. Yep. Your left glute. Both glutes actually, but left one tends to kind of get lazy. Inhale brings you halfway up. We're going to load that right leg, so I want you to watch your right knee. Make sure it doesn't come a whole lot forward, because we want to set the right hip crease back even more, even if you have to bend the knee more than what you think you should. How many times have we thought our knee needs to be straight in warrior three? Then setting the left foot down with control, we'll turn towards the window into our goddess. So more so than the feet or the knees, I want you to think of moving from deep in the hip socket. Let your arms release. Do a couple of little loosey-goosey shrugs. And do you feel any difference up there? Maybe a little more open. And then let's add intention. So lift the shoulder blades up, squeeze them together, and then shrug those scapula down the spine. Now can you feel my hand up a little bit more? Good job. And all the while I'm here, I'm energetically squeezing the sit bones and I'm dragging the feet energetically towards one another. Let's straighten the legs, turn the feet parallel, and just take your fingers maybe to your hip crease. And again, set those hip creases back and come into a wide-legged forward fold. So my hands are right up underneath my shoulders. And you can let the neck hang, or maybe I'm just looking in between my hands, it doesn't matter. And then protract the scapula and retract.
You keep your glutes and abs engaged?
Yes,
Okay.
yep. Lift your kneecaps up as well. So, the legs are getting your spine in this position, those hamstrings are getting ready to pull you up. Come to neutral. Well, actually not now, but I'm going to walk around to the front of the mat. And here's where we do that little transition into dolphin. Again, letting the head hang. Lift up with the hips as high as you can. And if you want to, you could lean into those scapula. And maybe you're in forearm balance, maybe not. Take one more big deep breath. Then walk out to forearm plank. And we'll lower after a breath or two all the way to the floor. And locust.
Is locust with feet or just arms?
There's different variations. If you want to lift the feet, you can. Maybe you want a back bend. If you wanted to grab your ankles, you could do that as well. And exhale, lower to the floor, and let's push back into child's pose. Take a deep inhale through your nose. Exhaling it out through your mouth. Again, inhale. Exhale. And then come up. Roll over onto your back. I want you to take your knees out wide. And I'm going to let those knees fall over to the left side. Stand strong in that right foot. Squeeze your right glute and take the right hip point up towards the ceiling, more so than on a diagonal. Right arm's going to come up by your ear. Grab onto that right wrist and pull right at the little gap of the wrist. Lengthen through the whole right side. Inhale. Let the knees travel back. And then let them move over towards the right side. Right hand will grab left wrist. And then stand strong in your left foot. Squeeze your left glute and push that hip point up towards the ceiling. And maybe even toothpaste, your forearm if you want to do that. Toothpaste, like when you squeeze a tube. And then inhale, back through center. And exhale, we'll come into Shavasana. So you can take the soles of the feet together if you want. Maybe you let the legs lengthen out. Feeling some energy or prana pulsing through the body. Take a big inhale through your nose. Exhale it out through the mouth. Again, inhale, nice and deep. Let your belly expand. And exhale, releasing it all. One more time. Biggest breath of your whole practice. And exhale it all away. And even as you're here, still feeling that triple S, the sacrum, the shoulder blades, the back of the skull. Letting the nervous system process and absorb everything you just introduced it to. Letting the body rest. Feeling supported through the earth and by the breath. Sending that breath or awareness to the back of the heart, to the scapula, that are the shutters of the heart. Just grazing the thumbs over the fingers. Spread your toes nice and wide. Then gently take your arms over your head and bring your feet together, just like that first morning stretch. Lengthen as far as you can, and then just let yourself fall back to the earth. more moments. Just absorbing. And hugging the knees into the chest. Take yourself off to one side. Taking a few moments to notice if there's any tension anywhere that's left. In the brow, jaw, the belly. And push yourself up to a seat with the eyes closed. And same thing as we're here. The skull, the shoulder blades, and the sacrum all want to be in that neutral place. Bring the hands together at the heart. Bowing the chin towards the chest. Finding gratitude for you guys, for letting you be my little guinea pigs today. For your dedication to your health, your